let's jump right into it. Tonight, the training side on the business is going to be the follow-up. And, you know, when we talk to people, I think that this is an area that's often overlooked as an area that we could really emphasize quite a bit more. People, they talk about, you know, that they struggle with their database and inviting, getting people to meetings, but, you know, I'll contend that people have just as much issue after the fact that somebody's seen the information on what do you do next? How do you follow up with people? How do you lead them to the next part, the next step in the process? How do we get them from A to B to C? And then get them to a decision. Because really, you know, people fall into three categories. After they've seen the information, they're a yes, a no, or a maybe. The no's, we want to continue to drip information on them. We want them to know that if something changes in their life, they can get back to us. And we're still going to have follow-up. We're still going to have information. We're going to ask them for permission that if new science comes out, or if, let's say, new financial news comes out, new products come out, we come back from an event, just touching base with them every once in a while to let them know what's going on, what's new with the company, what's changed. So even our no's, they're not dropping off of our database. We're continuing to drip on them, continuing to follow up and see what's going on with their life as well. Now the maybes, we're just looking for what information are they truly needing to become a yes or a no decision in the process. So the follow-up with the maybes looks a little bit different, and you need to understand from them exactly what they're looking for. Ask enough questions that you can uncover what's holding them back from being a yes or a no. Is it more science? Is it more belief in the company? Is it they don't understand the business side of things, or they're not comfortable with network marketing? Whatever their objections or their concerns are, you need to get them out on the table and continue to ask, well, if you had that information, is that all that you're looking for? If you had more science on XYZ, would that be enough to know if this is for you or not? So finding out that information is going to be vital for following up with them and knowing what the next step is in the process. And I'll get a little bit more into that here in a second. But then the yeses as well. We've got to follow up and know, okay, yes, they're excited, they're ready to get going. How do you get them into the system, and when's it going to happen? We don't want them to walk out of, let's say, a home meeting all excited and ready to go, but we've never taken the opportunity to find out when we're going to enroll them, when we're going to get them started, right? We would like to do it on site, but it doesn't always happen. So having that plan in is part of the follow-up, because once somebody's left, we know it can be challenging to get their attention. We're busy. We all have busy lives, and getting them back on board sometimes is difficult even when they are a yes. So understanding that part of it is very crucial. I want to pull up something on my my iPad really quick. So I'm going to share my screen so you can see what I see, because the statistics are absolutely mind-blowing when you start to look at following up and just how little people actually do it. And, you know, the statistics can be a little bit different than this. They might vary a little bit, but the fact of the matter is the same across the board, even if it swings plus or minus 10 percentage points on different statistics that you see. So let's take a look at this. And keep in mind, you know, this is just a general statement for sales in general. And we're not necessarily a sales business, but the follow-up is just as vital for us as it is for somebody that considers themselves a salesperson. So look at this, sales statistics. 48% of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. Never. They don't. They give them the information once. A decision may or may not have been made, but they never, ever follow up. So that's half. Half of people will never follow up with a prospect even once. 25% of people make a second contact and then stop. 12% of people only make 3 contacts and then stop. Only 10% of people make more than 3 contacts. But then listen to this, okay? If half of all people are stopping after the first follow-up with the prospect, or they don't even make it to the second, only 2% of the sales are made on the first contact, and only 3% of sales are made on the second contact. Can you imagine the difference in your business if you just made it to contacting somebody a third or a fourth time, you've doubled the amount of people potentially coming into your business. 5% of sales are made on the third contact, 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact. Now, if you add those up, so the first, the second, the third, and the fourth contact right here in this particular set of statistics is saying 2 plus 3 plus 5 plus 10, 20% of sales are being made in the first, second, third, or fourth contact. So that means that 80% of all sales are after the fourth contact, the fifth contact to the 12th. That's incredible. And the thing that I think people often struggle with is how and when to do the follow-up. When is too much? When is not enough? When should somebody come off the database? Those questions, I think, come up far more often than they actually should. And the reality is this, is every single case is going to vary. It's going to vary from person to person to person. I can't give you a clear A to B strategy on this, on when it's right for every single individual, because it needs to take some common sense, and it needs some paying attention on your part on the response that you're getting for somebody. Now, if we tell you that, it takes at least 5 contacts for 80% of all sales to happen, that doesn't mean that you contact somebody 5 times a day for the next 5 days, and that's 25 contacts. Okay, because that's when you're going to start to have people that aren't returning your calls. They're not listening to your voice messages. They're not returning text messages. They're just avoiding your contact at all costs. And the most important thing in this business, you guys, is our relationships. It's a relationship business. And if we start to sabotage our relationships, we're never going to get to the point that we're bringing more people in. And I love Michelle's patience with this. The people that we honestly sign up today, we've talked to a lot of them for years. It might be 2 years, 3 years before we even get them on the product as customers. And then it might be another year after that before they're coming into our business as a distributor. But I promise you this, we're not burning any relationships with anybody that we have in the follow-up or getting the information in front of them, because we're being cognizant of how much is too much. And when we start to feel any relationships start to get damaged or start to close off because of how much we're talking about what we have our hands on, because reality is this, is we're passionate, we're excited, we're fired up about what we're doing, and we want people to know about it. But we also have to have the common sense and be cognizant of the reaction we're getting from people, because not everybody's going to see it like we see it. So I want you guys to keep that in mind in the follow-up. It is check the reaction, check the pulse. If somebody tells you, hey, I just don't want to hear it, I get what you're saying, it's just not for me, tell them it's okay. I know that it's not for everybody. Confirm what they're thinking in their head, and just give the doorway a little bit of opening for down the road. Hey, I'm not going to bring this up. If something does change with you, I would love it if you would just get back to me, because this is a business of mine, and I would like you in it if something changes down the road. And then, maybe adding in, would you mind if a new product comes out, or we have somebody like Joanne Shears going to talk about one of the products, and, I think that you might have interest in that. Would you mind if I shot you that, maybe every 3 or 4 months, something your way? So leave the door open a little bit. But the follow-up, you guys, if you're not doing it, if you're taking people off your database, I'm telling you, you're losing a huge potential. You're losing probably the majority of what could be in your business by not continuing to follow up and treating them like they are a no forever. So let's take a look at one more thing. I want to share my screen one more time. Hopefully you guys are able to see what I'm pulling up here, because I think that this part is important as well. It should be jumping on here. So let's look at why some people are successful. And again, this is in relation to just sales in general, but I think it has strong application on what we're talking about as well. And it's getting into, those numbers again, and the tenacity, the results in following up with people. But I want you to think about this: introduce a 5 no's follow-up strategy. Okay, because if we're saying that only 1% of sales happen the first time, or 2%, and only up to 20% are happening with 4 contacts, what if you introduced a 5 no's strategy that you are following up until you got 5 no's from people, but you're doing it over the course of time. You're not doing it in a week. You're not doing it in a month. You're doing it over the course of several months where you're getting a little bit of information. You're continuing to drip on people, but you're getting a 5 no strategy before you would ever consider somebody to be a no into your organization as a customer or a distributor. So with this, what I'm saying is, let's say we share the ABC primetime video, somebody saw an opportunity meeting, and that counts as their first no. Okay, and then maybe we're following up. Let's say, for example, you just got back from Denver, Colorado. You're super fired up. You learned some things that you didn't know about your business before, and now you're starting to take that and you're sharing that with some of your friends and family. Hey, I just got back from Denver, Colorado. You know, I learned this. I got to share it with you. Could you spend 5 minutes with me? Because I didn't realize this about blank. And then you get them on the phone. You get them in a conversation. Maybe you're at a sporting event with a kid or back to school night, whatever it is, but you're just having another opportunity to be in front of them and give them more information. Okay, when the National Institute of Health, when that study, or the National Institute on Aging, that department within the National Institute of Health, when that study came out on the longevity, that this was the only proven product that could increase longevity, that could be another instance where you're using this to get a 5 no follow-up strategy, where you're calling somebody up and saying, hey, I'm super excited about this. Did you know the government just completed a decade-long study on a bunch of drugs and nutraceuticals, some plant-based things, and the only thing that they found to increase life that's a nutraceutical or a supplement was Protandim? This is absolutely crazy. Can you imagine the ability to improve people's quality of life and increase their lifespan as well? This is nuts what we have our hands on. This technology is gonna change the world. And that might be another no, that they come back from that and they're like, hey, that's great information. I'm glad that you shared it with me, but it's not what I'm looking for right now. So I'm telling you that there's a lot of different things. And normally, you know, in a LifeVantage Academy, we might spend 20, 30 minutes on a subject like this. And we do have limited time tonight because we definitely want to get into the cleanse portion. But I'm telling you to think about the statistics that I first went over when we got onto this training tonight. And think about the what ifs. What if you change your business where no matter what, you are at least going with a 5 no strategy with every single person in your database, what the difference would be, because 80% of all sales, 80% of all people coming into others' businesses is happening sometime between the 5th and the 12th follow-up. Okay, just that little bit of knowledge, just tweaking your business a little bit with that information should allow you to have huge, significant strides over the course of time. And keep in mind, just like anything else, a strategy like this is not going to change your business overnight. It takes time to implement this and then run its course. So you have to be consistent with your change in your business. That if you say that today, okay, yes, starting today, I'm going to change my business to a 5 no follow-up strategy, it might take 6 months before you're getting 5 no's from people in your database, right? So you're waiting for that long at least to see what it does to your business. And I challenge you with this. I challenge you with this before we get Joanne on here to talk about the cleanse, is if you gave yourself a 6-month period of time between now and, let's say, the end of January, do you think that this little small change, this fine tuning in your business would make a difference? And if you're telling yourself that it would, if you're saying yes, that this would make a difference in your business, you are absolutely crazy to not integrate it immediately. Okay, make the small changes in your business that are going to make the difference over time. And I promise you, you're going to see different results than what you're seeing today, even if your business is blowing up currently. You're going to see a lot more things change rapidly in your business by being consistent, making small changes, making course corrections, getting back to the basics. Nothing I've talked about today is new. None of this. And nothing that you hear on any of these Sunday night calls should be new information unless you're brand new into network marketing or brand new into LifeVantage. It's the basics. It's the building blocks. It's what we do over and over and over again. Joanne's been in the business for 6+ years. Michelle and I have been in the business for 6+ years, but we still continue to have to go back to these basics to get our business moving and to maintain the momentum that we all want in our business. So I know I talked quick. I went over quite a few different points there. Again, we could spend probably another 15, 20 minutes going through different different portions of the follow-up, but I hope that those were a few nuggets that you can take away immediately and integrate into your business. And I want